Dungeon Doomhands.
Yeah,
Let's
that was
talk
so funny, the
lore.
garlic
A podcast.
and the mirrors that no one cared about. But yeah, all right, let's go. Chris,
You ready?
Yeah,
Okay.
welcome back. Let's talk lore.
Roll high and subscribe.
Roll high and subscribe, always. Topic tonight, Chris, your choice.
Is challenging your players in combat.
Very cool idea.
So there's something that as a DM, it's always frustrating when you're like, all right, I have this really cool combat idea plan, this all these different homebrew monsters and all this stuff, and then you're like, all right, no one here has an AC under 23. I didn't really look at this as closely as I thought I would. I can only hit them 10% of the time. This is going to be miserable. They're just going to wipe the floor. Or any other like crazy, unique specialty things for characters of like, oh, I'm a raging barbarian. I have 4,000 hit points. And at that point, a lot of combats just feel like rolling dice back and forth, and it's a slog.
Yeah, I will say, and I guess I'm just going to jump into one example.
Yeah, go for it.
And I'm going to use this from what you did last Monday at Agatha Doomhand and the Skulls of Power, our shameless plug for Monday night. You set up a sort of environmental aspect to the battle, and whenever the werewolf went into the moonlight, he got massive and stronger. Now, I don't know what happened on his character sheet. All I knew was that you had him actually walk through it, and it's subtle. The way you just did it was really cool. You had him walk through the moonlight, and he got huge. Then when he got into the shadows, you said when he comes to you in the shadows, he sort of shrinks down. You all notice it. That was really, really cool. And then he started like going toe to toe with the barbarian in the moonlight, and it was crazy. And like, so the question was, do I attack him, or do I figure out how to get rid of the moonlight? Then we can attack. That adds another element to it. It's more of like a strategy, tactical attack, instead of just rolling. My paladin is just, all he does is hit and smite. As cool as that is, doing it 3 times in a row, unless you know how, unless you're like acting in the role play and stuff like that,
it can get kind of repetitive.
Adding that environmental thing was really cool. I have to applaud you for that. Bravo, DM, bravo DM.
And that's one thing that I always try to bring into those big fights. It's the idea of the fight. It's not just like this boss is sitting waiting in a room, waiting for some random schmo to come in and kick at their butt, or waiting for just people to walk in one after the other and just kill them as they come in. Like they're in the middle of doing something and you're trying to stop them, or you're trying to save someone. There has to be some engagement of something else going on besides just 2 groups of evil people see each other and kill on sight.
Yeah, I mean, let's do four ways to make combat.
I love hostages, or civilians, creatures that are just creatures on the board, not necessarily people. Creatures on the board that can easily go down or be taken.
Oh yeah.
Or
hordes
that need to be taken from one area to another.
Yes.
That sort of like civilian, save the civilian.
So when I did so like an objective, a goal. So the first one we had was what was it, Chris? It was the adding. Well, so let's just get to your goal in the battle. So it's like having another objective besides knocking the guy out. You're gonna knock the guy out, but
Right.
There's like it's almost like a side quest. So like
Right.
in the forest, when I had that, you guys come across a battle between the centaur and the owlbear, and you see that the centaurs, through their words or actions, are trying to get the egg, and the owlbear, through her actions, not necessarily words unless you were a druid, is trying to protect the egg. Now you guys have a sort of subtle goal. Now, I didn't mean to do that. You guys just focused on the egg the way I set it up, but maybe you set it up like that where you get a reward of some kind with the egg or whatever. That
was one of the ways I love to change up combat as well. Not just having you walk up on one other creature, you walk up on two other people doing something else completely different.
Yeah,
like the one combat I loved, because this is what really gave me the idea. The party was walking, and I had some giants who were hunting wolves who were hunting the party. So it's like there's this other thing going on and the party was just there happening. That happened to be there and get caught in the middle of it while this old big fight between wolves and giants were raging through the mountains, and rocks were getting thrown everywhere, and it was this big chaos monster, and it was challenging, and you get to see who they side with. Well, how do they try and resolve? Do they try and stop it? Do they try and kill everyone? You give opportunities. Yeah, like a moral dilemma type of thing. I mean, you have the environmental, you have your moral dilemma. So if you wanted to be just like, we're going to go kill this guy, I always love to throw a puzzle aspect into it, like the Moonlight. Like throw something that changes during the fight, that the players have to like go through a couple rounds before they fully understand what's happening. Of like, the puzzle battle. This creature has like a troll or some other creatures, like a general D&D enemy of they regenerate if they don't take fire or radiant, I believe. And the first time you face that and you do a whole lot of damage to this troll, and then it comes to their turn and they heal up, and you're like, oh shoot, how are we going to stop them from healing? Yeah. And it becomes a puzzle. It's not just about killing them. Yeah. It's about like, how do we stop this? So like the way I did, you guys were exiting the Underdark, and there was a massive, and this was Tri-Guards, the city, random tangent, the Tri-Guard, the city's protector who guards the gates to the underworld, a big statue, and it was a puzzle battle because he's gonna everyone rolls initiative, but you also give the players a initiative for answering the riddle. So once you, and the riddle was like, it was something stupid like, the only people who could cross are people whose names are on the list, and something along those lines. And the problem with the battle was that Booterbot is very good at riddles, and I mean, I didn't say the riddle on this Let's Talk Lore very well, and I'm pretty sure I explained it just like that, which is why it happened. But it only took like 2 turns, but like a puzzle battle is awesome, dude. Like, I really like that. The Moonlight, I didn't even think of the Moonlight being a puzzle battle as much as I thought environment. So I guess we go back. It's something like for that one combat in my head, I was like, I want something that makes them more threatening. Like, and you said it seems they seem like they changed when they're in there, and my goal was to have like that spot be a place where you're battling of them trying to get into it and you trying to push them out of it. And like just that little dynamic changes the way you fight the battle, how you move, where you move, what spells you use. Of like, there's this thing that I'm trying to change about the field, the gameplay, the field that we're playing on. You know what I was thinking? You know how we did a time limit
in the time heist.
Yeah.
We had a whole session where it was just, okay, you guys are going to go there for roll the D20. You got 24 hours, 24 game time hours, including long. So like the long rest was
like we had to plan when we're going to do it.
When are you going to take that? You know, maybe I should have had you guys had more damage during that to sort of, you know, whatever. I'm not looking back on it. I'm not upset how any of that turned out. It was awesome. But what if you took that time limit type thing and incorporated it into the battle? And so,
absolutely.
You know,
the easiest place to do something like that is in a temple or a dungeon where you're in a room and there's a timer counting down, and there's enemies in the room, and you have to stop something in the room that has a time limit of 4 rounds,
right,
before the room floods with water, right. And you have to kill all these creatures or stop this way. That's the puzzle of the combat. Yeah, like stuff like that. I love.
And I was playing. It also reminds me of a Gloomhaven. You know, it's the card the card game. They say it's like Dungeons and Dragons. It's not like Dungeons and Dragons. It's a dungeon crawl game with instead of dice, it's cards. But I'm not going to knock it. It happens to be a really good game. However, there was this, to go back to it, to the topic at hand, there was this one scenario where everyone, including the bad guys, after like a turn or every 2 turns, because, you know, however you want to do it, took a significant amount of damage because you're in a volcano.
Right.
And everyone gets dealt fire damage or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, that's sort of, it's not necessarily a time limit, but it's like a health limit.
It pushes urgency of
right.
Like we can't let this drag out. We have to like do it now, do it quick.
Right. And sometimes the combat, you know, not all combat, and I have a hard time with this sometimes too. Not all combats have to end with a death.
Right.
It just has to end in a way that is fitting. So maybe you're in. It's like it could be a side quest. Sorry, I just finished. It could be a side quest, and like you're in this. You're you know that if you kill this guy, you get a crazy item or whatever. But it's so hard that you guys now decide that you're going to go back and look for help or a way to do it. And next time you get, you know, there's immersive quality to these things. It's more, you know.
It's the what is the goal of the combat?
Yeah.
Like what are you trying to get out of it with this combat?
Yes.
And there's one game I ran. The characters are just incredibly strong for the environment. I didn't feel like trying to craft that perfect balance that's gonna test all of their challenges, put them right to the razor's edge. I'm like, I don't feel like going deep into the weeds to try and get that perfect combat balance. But I want something in this session that we're running to make these characters feel like, oh, I'm a big bad tough guy and screw everyone else. So I put some creatures that are just tough enough to look scary to anyone else but them, and they just like wipe the floor with them in 2 rounds. And I know like wipe most other parties. And I was like, okay, this is perfect. This is exactly what I wanted it to be. Of like, it doesn't have to be this crazy thing. It's the goal of that combat. The purpose of that combat was for them to feel big and powerful and strong. And they did. And they did exactly what they were wanting to do, and it's exactly what I could hope.
Yeah. And, you know, I just feel like I always like the immersion to push it up, and I've been doing, and I feel like this series of Let's Talk Lore, the season, if you will, really is going to be focused on immersion, you know, and role play and, you know, everything Dungeons and Dragons. But I'm always going to have a section here where we talk about what we're talking about in immersion. I feel like, you know, yes, as you said, combat can get really boring and very hard to run for a dungeon master if you have multiple people.
Yeah.
But the immersive qualities of these recommendations, that not recommendations, but, you know, how-tos, are like pretty insane. It's like the time limit thing. Now everyone's thinking about the time. the healing, the damage that you take every turn. You're not just focusing on your dice and adding math. I said environmental, but your thing was a puzzle. The puzzle. How do you do? What's happening here? Why is he invincible almost in the moonlight?
I think the immersive beauty of it is it's a way to get the players out of their character sheet and into the world.
Yes.
Of like exploring the world, because it's like, oh no, there's something else that's different. I have to understand and figure this out, of like whatever it is. Like there's civilians running around of like, okay, I can't just look at my character sheet and say, oh, biggest fireball, kill everyone, we're done,
Right.
rinse and repeat. It's like, oh, I don't know what to do now. There's a conundrum. I have to figure this out.
Yeah. And like sometimes it happens randomly, and just pay attention to the game. Sometimes it happens randomly. Like one random thing we did, I had a big basilisk fight with you guys, and you had druids and all this stuff, and not you had the party, but you had dark elves and
Drow, yeah.
Drow, and the second turn into the game, Jake or Sprock took his wand of wonder and shot out, and it randomly rolled, and there were a million butterflies flying around the room all of a sudden. Now things get interesting, because it's like, when the basilisk looks at you, you're gonna go prone and turn into a stone. But like,
those butterflies now.
The butterflies now, you use your advantage. I love the environment in the battle. Sometimes that could be used as the immersive quality, but maybe the point of this is that combat can be in itself immersive, because now you're in it, and while you're there, add that extra layer that you're talking about. Really cool topic, Chris. Really cool topic. Because it just happened. That moonlight thing was sick.
Well, and that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I always like to reflect on, like, I have a plan for a big fight, and then I run it, and it never goes the way I planned. And I always like to reflect on, like, okay, what did I do that worked? And exactly what you were saying, the moonlight, it made it something unique. It made it something special, something that you had to figure out. And that's what I want. So adding stuff like that, ran a little environmental or uniquenesses that change the field or change the way enemies or players interact, is a really nice way to bring a little bit more of that immersion.
Oh, yeah. And that's it.
Thank you,
baby.
Roll high and subscribe.
Roll high and subscribe. Tune in on Monday night for not the epic conclusion just yet, but almost getting to the epic conclusion.
For the potential reunion of Evil Titan Tamer and Sophie Beaumont.
Yes.
The reunion that I'm not sure how it's gonna play out right now, based on the way I've been role playing everyone.
It's gonna be
now
hilarious.
that I think of them.
We're gonna have interactive combat on that night, so stay tuned for that. Yeah,
you're gonna be having me role play with myself, role playing with myself.
Yeah, I will. If it gets too slow, I'll just have to start fighting.